Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and finally the 2023-24 campaign has come to an end. A very successful one for Celtic, winning both the Scottish Premiership and the Scottish Cup. We leave the season with a double, a very successful return for Brendan Rodgers in his first time of asking. So, it's a summer full of transfer shenanigans, and there's one player that I think most Celtic fans are desperate to see signed up. So why don't we talk about that? Hello, welcome back. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. Can I just say very quickly, thank you for your support throughout the entirety of this campaign. It has been a weird one, ups and downs. You know, we've had our good times, we've had our bad times as well, but in the end, Celtic do what they do best, and that's win. And we leave the season with 2 trophies. So, not too bad, and you guys have been here through the entirety of it on this channel. So, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here all summer talking absolute nonsense. I'm sure we're going to have a million players to get linked with and talk about. So, you know what to do if you want to stay updated. Hit like, hit subscribe. We've got a few stories to cover today. Celtic were successful on Saturday in their mission to win the Scottish Cup. A 1-0 win over Rangers, a fantastic result. It wasn't the best performance you're ever going to see. We know that. We weren't at our best. But, you know, even when we're not at our best, they can't beat us. So, another Scottish Cup for Brendan Rodgers, another Scottish Cup for Celtic Football Club, which means that we are now tied when it comes to major honours with Rangers. So, I've said this a couple of times, and I can't ever get sick of saying it. So, start ripping down those world's most successful club stickers, boys. Yep. Start ripping them down. Celtic now on 118. Yes, 118. Hey, 118 major honours for Celtic. We've also overtaken Rangers when it comes to domestic cups in Scotland. So there's only one more thing to do. That's go and win 55 next season, since that's such a big deal. Yeah, we're nearly there. We're nearly the world's most successful team, if you want to use that cringy tagline, which isn't even true. But nonetheless, a very successful day for Celtic, one that I'm sure Rangers fans have enjoyed as well as we go level with them. And the man that we have to thank for that success on Saturday is a certain ADAM IDAH, whose future, of course, is up for question. I know that you might want me to sit and dissect Saturday a little bit more than I have, but listen, there's a match reaction you can watch, there's a live stream from last night, there's one guy that I want to talk about specifically in today's video before we get on to the other stories, and that is ADAM IDAH, a man who has came into Celtic and embraced the challenge and delivered to the best that he possibly could. What a contribution in this final part of the season. He's been so vital in Celtic's push for both the league trophy and the Scottish Cup. He's somebody who came in under serious scrutiny and doubt, and amongst that scrutiny and doubt, we kind of found a diamond. Somebody who has been so pivotal to the big goals that he's scored and the moments that he's delivered, potentially the league-deciding goals, and of course the 90th minute winner against Rangers on Saturday. His influence since arriving in late January has been unbelievable for somebody who I didn't really expect to make much of an impact at all. He kind of has that same feeling around him that I had to have with Joe Hart. You know, I remember coming on here and making a video to Joe Hart titled along the lines, "I'm so sorry, Joe Hart." Well, let me make this very perfectly clear. I am so sorry, ADAM IDAH. I'm sorry for judging before we even got to see you kick a ball. I am sorry for jumping to conclusions. And listen, I don't think it was ever necessarily about ADAM IDAH himself. I don't think it was about the guy ADAM IDAH, and this isn't just for me now, this is me talking in the general reaction that Celtic fans gave to the signing. I don't think it was ever ADAM IDAH that was the problem. I think it was ADAM IDAH who found himself in the crosshairs of a very angry Celtic support. A Celtic support who back in January were still doubting that we could win this league title. A Celtic support who thought that the board would reinvest and strengthen the side in January, never did, and then went out and signed Norwich's third choice striker. I think he was caught in the crosshairs of just a very, very nervous and anxious Celtic, that we didn't really have a clear direction, and he didn't look like the answer to the problems. But boy, he came in and he fixed a lot of problems. So will ADAM IDAH be a Celtic player next year? I don't know. I don't know if he'll be a Celtic player next season. I can't sit here and tell you I have any in-the-know information that means he's signing for Celtic or not signing for Celtic. It's about waiting to see what happens. But he's made his thoughts perfectly clear. The manager has made his thoughts perfectly clear. I mean, this is somebody who I think has enjoyed his time so much here that he'd be desperate. And the first opportunity to sign a contract, a permanent contract at this club, it's just a matter of, can Celtic make it work with Norwich City? I hope they can. But, you know, he's played well. And Norwich might be reconsidering what they do with Adam Idah next season if they can see the quality that he's offered to this Celtic side. Maybe Norwich find him a place in the team next year. Maybe they demand more money. Maybe they make it hard for Celtic to justify spending said money. But this is somebody Celtic need to go out and sign. I'll say it now. I'll say it very loud. I'll say it very clear. Celtic need to sign Adam Idah. I'm a big fan of Adam Idah. I think that he offers a lot. I think he's a great dynamic to have in the team, considering, you know, we look at the striker that we have in Kyogo, who's the first team striker. He's a different player. And what he offers is so different from Kyogo that if something's not working, you bring Adam Idah onto the pitch. It was similar to the situation we had with Georgios Giacomakis. Now, I'm fed up of bringing up Georgios Giacomakis, but everybody loved Big Georgios because he came on, he offered something different. In certain games, you could use his qualities, maybe qualities that Kyogo didn't have, and vice versa. That's the same feeling you get with Adam Idah, and I think he's showed in the last 6 months he's very reliable, he's very good, and there's a long way for him to go at such a young age as well. So, for me, Celtic must sign him. Must. So I am making the appeal right now, along with thousands of other Celtic fans who are in the same boat. Peter, Michael, Dermot, Brendan, get on the blower. Get the big man signed. So what do we know? How good are the chances of Adam Idah signing for Celtic next year? Of course, he was asked to comment himself on his future following Saturday's success in the Scottish Cup final, but those sort of answers where you're not going to get anything definitive, and rightfully so. It's not as if Adam Idah has the crystal ball to know how negotiations will go, but he was asked to comment on whether or not he'll be a Celtic player next season, and this is some of the things he said. He said that the love that he's had here has been amazing. I'm loving it here. I probably didn't expect it to be as good as it has been. This has really changed my career around. I've come up here, and the players, the staff and the fans, they've all welcomed me in, and they've given me that confidence and belief to enjoy playing football again. I've been loving it here, but I'm still contracted to Norwich. It's not up to me. Football works in strange ways. I'll have some time off now, and I'll see what happens. So that was one of his comments in the newspapers. This was also, the same sentiment was sort of reinforced as well by a post-match interview with BBC Scotland, where he said this: I tried to come here and score as many goals as I could. I didn't think I'd score a goal like this in front of all these fans. It's an amazing feeling. It's hard to put into words. Anyone here can see what it means to the fans, to the players. I've always supported Celtic. It's amazing. But football is tricky. I love it here. I've said it previously. It's a great club, but I'm still contracted to Norwich. I'll go back there in the summer, and who knows. So Adam Idah just giving you the answer that you would probably expect. As I said, he's not got the crystal ball to say that he's definitely going to be here next year. He's not going to land a false promise that then lets Celtic fans down on, or lets himself down on. He probably doesn't want to get his hopes up either, but we know he loves it here, and we know how better he's been treated at Celtic than what he was down at Norwich City. He kind of touched on that in his interview in the paper as well, about how the difference is up here to maybe he called himself a scapegoat down at Norwich City, sounding a little bit like Jack Perry there, Adam, but he called himself a scapegoat, and now he's been enjoying his football again. He's been loving it up here, and he's found that confidence in himself again. So I think he's probably desperate to come here. And the manager has reinforced his desire to have him. The players as well have reinforced their desire to have him. He's become a very, very liked figure at the club, and he's somebody who both, as I said, the manager and the players want to see here permanently too. So this was some of Brendan Rodgers' quotes in relation to trying to bring Adam Idah in permanently. He said, "The board know how I feel on Adam. That was the reason for bringing him in. He's been a real catalyst for us, especially over the last few months. I knew what I was getting because I'd seen him at the Premier League at 18. He has all the attributes. He's fast, dynamic, strong, and I felt with better positioning he would get goals." He then told Premier Sports that he's still got a long-term deal at Norwich, but he's definitely someone I'd love to bring here. At 23, with the potential he has and the qualities he has, I think he can really push on. in his career. Brendan Rodgers making it abundantly clear that he wants Adam Idah here on a permanent deal next season. Somebody who he's looked at himself and has made it clear as a Brendan Rodgers signing. We always throw about these phrases of, a Mark Lawwell signing, a Lee Congerton signing, a Brendan Rodgers signing. Maybe he's going out on one of his famous Rodgerisms, but taking the credit for spotting him at age 18 and wanting to bring him here to Celtic. He is a part of Rodgers' plans, I think, and I think he'll be right in at the board to spend the money on him. I don't know how much that's going to be, realistically, but Rodgers wants him, the fans want him, the stats speak for themselves. I mean, you look at what he's done since he's come up here. He's scored 9 goals for Celtic, and 9 massive goals at that, and big moments, some of them. You think of Fir Park, you think of Hampden at the weekend. He scored some big goals and some big pressure moments. And he's done it all in a very limited amount of minutes. I genuinely can't think of one game where Adam Idah played an entire 90. And the return that he's had in doing so, I think he's played 19 games, scoring 9 goals. You think of how many of them have been flashes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It's not 19 full appearances, and he's still contributed the manner that he has. It speaks for itself. I think he's showed the qualities. He's showed a known quality as well. I think he's a very risk-free signing. I think it would be daft for Celtic to pass up on the opportunity. Now, I'm not saying if Norwich go out and name a ridiculous price that we go out there and we spend the money and we make it happen. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that it would be very smart of Celtic to try and negotiate something to bring him in permanently. We hear all this talk of Miofsky, Fiskard, whatever. No. Adam Idah. Idah better. Sign him up. I hope that Celtic do it. We'll watch to see what happens, but this is my official pledge to do everything I can on this channel to push the club. As if the club are going to be watching. No, but this is my official campaign. To try and make it happen. I want him to be a permanent Celtic player. He's warmed my heart, and I just want him here. I think that being at the age of 23, you're looking at somebody, if you sign him in a 4 or 5 year contract, think of where he could be at age 27, 28. For where he is now. I think the development is crazy under Brendan Rodgers. The potential for that development is crazy. So, Celtic, sign him up. So talking about loan players who could become a permanent signing for Celtic next season, let's take a wee minute to talk about Paulo Bernardo, who has kind of went under the radar in recent weeks when it comes to this conversation, probably because Adam Idah has dominated that conversation. But there still is a chance that Paulo Bernardo could be signed permanently by Celtic if they activate the option to buy. This was a headline that came out in Portugal over the past couple of days. I think it was actually yesterday morning this article went up, saying that Celtic will evaluate signing Paulo Bernardo, who is not included in Benfica's plans. And apparently we now have a number to the signing of Paulo Bernardo, a fee which could be the one that we've been waiting on. There has been numbers thrown about all year. Some people said 6 million, some people said 7 million, some people said as low as 1.5 million. There has been conflicting reports, but if this article from Ajogo over in Portugal is anything to go by, then this is what they say. It says that to secure the player permanently, the threshold to be reached is at €7.5 million, which would work out roughly at £6 million. Celtic's expectations point to Paulo Bernardo remaining after a season in which he played 33 games, scoring 4 goals and providing 3 assists. The midfielder, should be noted, is not included in Benfica's plans for the main squad. So, once again, everything from sources that I can't tell you are reliable or not, take it with a pinch of salt, but this outlet over in Portugal claiming that Celtic are keen to keep him as part of the team, that he's not part of Benfica's plans next season, and has a release clause of around 6 million to £6.5 million, €7.5 million to be precise. So, I don't know. I thought it was maybe a bit much for Paulo Bernardo, but I really like him. And see, at the end of the day, it's the money that we're making. 60 million quid for getting into the Champions League alone. That's only 10% of that money. And then you add in the money we're probably going to make on Matt O'Riley. You add in the money that we made off Abada. You may add in the money that we made off Jota leaving, which we never really fully spent last year. You add in all these other commercial revenues. 6 million quid's not a lot of money to bring in somebody who, once again, like I said with Idah, probably has a known quality there. I think Celtic should make it happen. Just my personal opinion, but that's the report that came out of Portugal. And finally for today, there has been a little bit of talk surrounding Matt O'Riley. A report from Spain put out a headline that you probably won't like the look of, but here it is saying that the Atletico Madrid have shortlisted midfielders to improve the squad, and the article goes on to say that journalist Matteo Maretto through Fabrizio Romano's daily briefing have outlined that Atletico Madrid have a short list of midfielders they are keen on, including Matt Zweifer, who they contacted in January, and Celtic's Matt O'Riley, who they made a bid for in the late in the winter window, and finally Mikel Merino as well. So Matt O'Riley still on a short list for Atletico Madrid as we move into this summer transfer window. Not entirely stunned by this news. I don't think it's a huge breaking story. We know that Celtic rejected a bid from Atletico Madrid in the January transfer window, so I always expected them to come back in at first opportunity when this window opens. Could it be Atletico Madrid it goes to? I don't know. There's a few teams interested. All I know is prepare yourself for the worst news possible when the bids start flying, because there's no way we're keeping our hands on Matt O'Riley this season. So that does it for today. A very Adam IDAH orientated video, but it's exactly what I wanted to talk about to kick off the week here on the channel. So there's your Monday briefing. Adam IDAH wants to stay at Celtic. Brendan Rodgers wants to keep him at Celtic. Paulo Bernardo apparently wanted by Celtic permanently with a release clause of £6 million. And then finally Matt O'Riley could be away, as we all know. So not a huge amount of news, but nonetheless, it's what we've got to work with today. If you have enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. But for now, that's me. I'll see you back again tomorrow as we kickstart what I'm sure is going to be a hectic summer for Celtic Football Club. So until next time, God bless, and I'll see you all later.